Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this webinar of the PoliTo Open Days. So this afternoon, I'm going to present the Mass Formation and Communication Technologies, or ICT, for smart societies. So during this presentation, I will cover a few items. I will give a general introduction to the degree program. I will focus on what are the most important things that characterize this specific degree program, which are different from other degree programs of the Politecnico, and the particular reasons why we think that students should consider taking up this course in their education program. I will talk about the professional profile of ICT for smart societies, and then give you some conclusions. So for this particular webinar, we have half will be the first half of this time slot, and then we will have a question and answer session. You'll be most welcome to propose your questions, to ask your questions in the chat, and then we will answer these questions. After the presentation at 4 p.m., we will move into a different meeting room where we will have another half an hour of assistance and the question and answer session. So we will give you the suitable instruction at the end of this presentation. So my name is Enrico Magli, and I'm the coordinator of the ICT for Smart Societies degree program. There's also other people connected here who will help me with the question and answer session, particularly Professor Marco Mellia, who is also an instructor of the course in ICT for Smart Societies, and the two former students of ICT for Smart Societies, Nikhil Jha and Dena Markudova, who are now PhD students in the Department of Electronics. So one thing that I like to say first and foremost is that ICT for Smart Societies is a new degree program, unlike other degree programs like electronics or computer engineering, who have been active for a very long time now. ICT for Smart Societies has been designed and activated only 5 years ago, and it's been designed to be a very innovative degree program. So I will give you a note. We think this is very interesting, innovative, and then give you some details about that. It's held fully in English, so it's being picked both by Italian students and by foreign students, and we have a very nice balance of both. So the overarching theme of ICT for Smart Society is interdisciplinary education. So what this means in practice is that we focus both on ICT methodologies and on ICT applications. We cover a number of methodologies, many of which are related to data processing and data handling, which is very important for ICT systems because these systems collect a lot of data and we have to make a sense out of those data. So we teach the methodologies, we give the foundations of methodologies in ICT, and then we apply those methodologies in 5 different specific application domains, which I will describe later on, which these application domains have been chosen because we believe they're the most important for the society of the future. So we expect that learning those methodologies as well as the related applications will give you the tools to be very successful in the job market for today and tomorrow. But why is this interdisciplinary? Not only we have methodologies and applications, but the teaching approach is highly interdisciplinary in that we've got teachers who jointly teach classes, teachers from ICT area and also application domain experts. So we typically have a course with an ICT expert and a domain expert like geomatics expert, expert in architecture, expert in medicine, and so on. And both of them jointly teach you the methods and the application. So this makes for a highly interdisciplinary approach. It creates a very nice job profile, which is ready to get a nice job on the job market. So it is interesting to see that the students over these 5 years have very highly appreciated this interdisciplinary approach. We started from about 30 students in the first year of activation of the degree program, and we essentially doubled that during this academic year. And as you can see, the number of students enrolling in this course is really picking up. So we expect even more students in the next year, in the years to come. So regarding the methodologies, what we do is to provide the students with the tools to understand and design ICT systems. So these are very complex systems. These systems typically acquire a lot of information. This information has to be communicated from one place to another. It has to be understood and made sense of. We need to extract information from the data. We need to process the data, store the data, perform implementation, secure the information, optimize the processes for the operation of the ICT system. All of this requires sound fundamental methodologies. So what we cover in terms of methodologies in the degree program is machine learning, communications and networking, big data, IoT, operational research, programming, and also security. So we give you the software tools and the methodologies to implement and analyze ICT systems. So I'm relevant in everyday life. So these are systems, that's the first one. We know that transportation systems are very important, and there's a lot of optimization that can take advantage from ICT methodologies in transport. Second one is the environment. So we used to study the use of the environment and optimize that. Third one is buildings, which is where we live in. So obviously that has an effect on the quality of life. Buildings these days can indeed take advantage from ICT components in order to optimize the power consumption, the energy consumption, but also to provide an improved lifestyle for the people. Then we have energy, which is intended as systems for energy distribution, essentially, and optimization. So also green processes and all that. And finally, health, which is extremely important and is it's all over the newspapers these days. And all of this is done by means of data handling technologies and big data technologies, which we cover during some courses in the degree program. So the particular aspects of ICT for smart societies which make this a pretty unique degree program in the Politecnico and also outside of the Politecnico are, as the first thing, as I mentioned, the interdisciplinary approach. So there's no other course in the Politecnico that has such a blend of different expertise between the methods and the applications in the Politecnico, but also something that we are very proud of and that the students also appreciate a lot is that the teaching style uses a lot the hands-on approach. So a lot of computer labs, a lot of projects. The students really get to put in practice the notions that they learn about the theory during the lectures. And we think this is very valuable in order for students to really have an in-depth understanding of all the topics that we deal with during the lectures. In addition to that, during the second year, we have a course which is of 10 credits. And this course is essentially a team project. It's a group work for groups of students, which lasts for the whole year. The projects are typically defined together with companies so that they have some industry relevance or practical relevance anyway. And students are co-advised by ICT professors and domain-specific experts on the operation of the project. Another thing would be that ICT for Smart Societies has professors whose age is younger than the average in the Politecnico. So these are rather, let's say, vibrant people, very good researchers also. They have all a very good scientific track record, which helps them provide the best possible lectures and equipment, and so that they can carry out their laboratory activities. So all of this is pretty unique to ICT for Smart Societies, and it's one of the reasons why the students have been liking this master degree program quite a lot in the last few years. So at this stage, I'd like to say a few words about how we plan to handle the current sanitary situation due to COVID, which obviously is having an impact on the teaching process. So for ICT for Smart Societies, we have made sure that the professors are replanning their teaching activities in such a way that especially, so the lectures are online, they're available, video recorded, but we are also trying to make sure that also the computer labs and all the laboratory experiences can be done in a very meaningful way. So we have remote teaching tools, but we're also using tools such as video chat and forum. We're preparing to let students access the computers in the computer labs remotely through remote desktop software. We're purchasing licenses for the use by the students, preparing to share code via GitHub and share data via Dropbox. And in some cases, we will ship hardware components to groups of students so that they can carry out their computer labs on the real thing instead of just remotely with a virtual laboratory. And obviously some activities which we already were doing as a field tests, we will keep doing that because most likely that's going to be allowed during the next academic years. Last but not least, our degree program has a relatively small classes, as I said, roughly 60 students. So there is a rather direct connection between the professors and the students, which makes for easier exams, easier lab experience, and so on. So we believe that all of this will allow us to have a very nice teaching experience also during the next academic year. So regarding the professional profile, we are forming the professional figure, which we call the ICT for Smart Societies engineer, which is a slightly different profile from other ICT degrees, because the ICT for Smart Societies engineer has an expertise on all aspects of ICT systems, not only electronic design or programming or networking and so on, but as a broader view of an ICT system, so that they're at the same time they're able to design ICT systems and extract value from those ICT systems. But at the same time, the courses on application domains give the students some domain knowledge, so that in real life, during their jobs, the ICT for Smart Societies engineers can talk with domain experts, understand the requirements that are needed for an ICT system, draft those requirements into specifications, and looking at so many aspects of ICT systems, the ICT for Smart Societies engineer becomes very good at adapting himself or herself to a technology domain that is changing at a very fast pace. So what you learn today is not what you're going to use in your job tomorrow. You need to adapt more than everything else in ICT. And we think that the current design of the degree program really provides that characteristics to ICT for Smart Societies students. So if you're in doubt whether you're going to get a job after a degree, you shouldn't have that kind of doubt, because there's still a very large gap between the requirements, the demand of ICT laureates and the available jobs, which are much less than the demand. And more importantly, the gap between the demand and the offer is increasing. So there will be more and more jobs for ICT engineers. And so after the degree, you're going to find a job of your liking rather easily. And this is also substantiated by the statistics from Alma Laurea, which collect the job statistics for the young laureates. 86% of the ICT for Smart Societies laureates are decidedly happy about what they have done during the degree program, and this is almost double the average degree of satisfaction of the Politecnico. Moreover, the time needed to enter the job market is only 1.6 months, if compared with more than 5 months as an average of the Politecnico. And more importantly, the percentage of laureates who use in a significant way during their job what they have learned during the degree program is 71% as opposed to 50% for the other degrees of the Polytechnic. So we think that the ICT for Smart Societies students, when they get the degree, apparently they're extremely happy of what we're doing, or what they're doing after the degree. So now I had a few slides about some of the interdisciplinary projects that we have here that the students have done, because that gives you a sense of the type of job that you're going to do after the degree. Because I'm running a little bit late, I'm going to go through this rather quickly. So we have a system, for example, design of a system for passenger information, which broadcasts to potential users of buses and public transportation systems any information about delays or failures of the traffic means of transportation. Then we have designing an emergency department for a hospital, which minimizes the time that you have to wait in a waiting room before you're assigned to the best possible department to address the specific problem of the patient. We have the design of an app that maps the quality of the Wi-Fi network over a very large area. It was the Politecnico in this specific case, and this information is used to derive statistics and analytics about the use of the network. And we have a smart home which employs equipment from different vendors, which each of them using proprietary protocols, and we have here the design of an upper layer protocol that allows communication between all of those. And I could go on and give you many other examples of that. I will just conclude by saying that all the statistics say that the ICT for Smart Society students are very happy about what they have done. We are not saying that, the students are saying that. Many of them actually end up taking research jobs, either in research labs, industrial research labs, or in the Politecnico, very often taking, pursuing a doctoral degree. So with that, I will conclude, and I'd like to thank in advance Marco, Nikhil, and Dana for helping me with the question and answer. And I'd just like to mention that in July, the second week of July, we're going to have a new event, ICTDays, which is specifically dedicated to degrees in the domain of ICT. We're going to have question and answers, a chat, video chat, and so on. So more information will be available in due time on the website of the Polytechnic. So this concludes my presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat so that we can provide more information about the degree program.
Okay, thanks Enrico. So there is the first question coming, actually also the second one. Can you please explain more about thesis options? Yeah, Enrico.
So yeah, thesis follows the same rules as the other degrees in ICT essentially. Typically, thesis options are thesis in a department, which typically ends up being a research thesis. More often, students prefer to do the thesis in a company. So that's rather easy for ICT for Smart Societies because all professors have a lot of connections with companies. The thesis in a company can be done in Italy or also abroad. We do have in our schedule of classes for the second year, we have the second semester, which is essentially almost empty, to give an opportunity to students to do Erasmus or take part of exchange programs. And while they do the Erasmus, they typically come up with different options available here.
Okay,
so there's a question about programming languages like Java, MATLAB, and so on. I would probably like to invite Nikhil or Dana to comment on that. They've been our recent students, so they have more of a feel for what they needed during the degree.
Hello, everybody. The main programming language which will be used during the ICT for Smart Societies course is Python. Although there is no need to know it in advance, there are some hours during the classes in the ICT for Health course in which you will be introduced to Python in the first semester. as it happened to me. Of course, it would be good to have some sort of idea of what programming means. I mean, if you have programmed in C, you have some experience in C, maybe some experience in Java and MATLAB could help. But I would say that I don't know which is your background, but you don't have to know any specific language. But yeah, an idea of what a programming language is would be helpful for sure.
Okay, so there is another question about the needed background in terms of machine learning and big data. So I'd like to state very clearly that there is no such specific requirement, in the sense that we do have a mandatory course on machine learning, but this course starts from the basics. We have another course that ICT for Health that also does a lot of machine learning theory, but there is no pre-requirement for that. And we have an elective course on big data. Professor Melia has also been involved in that and can give you more information about that. That course also has no specific requirements. So you should feel very free to pick up ICT for Smart Societies, even if you don't have any, let's say, prior knowledge of machine learning and big data, because actually almost no student does. Another question is for students in management engineering, if there are extra exams. So yes, students in management engineering usually don't have a specific background on signal processing. So what we do is we typically assign them one course in signal processing to be taken as a debit. However, in order to avoid that the students have too much going on during the first year, it is allowed to take that course in substitution of one of the elective courses. So you don't end up doing one extra course, really. It's just a replay. You just have one less option, one less available slot for an elective course. And that usually ends up working pretty well. We do have a rather large percentage of students from management engineering. And I believe that Nikhil, you were from management engineering, right? So yes. Maybe you can give your direct experience on this.
Yeah, at my time when I enrolled, there was not this this constraint of having an SSP course to take. But apart from that, I didn't feel really some sort of problems coming from management engineering. Yes, I don't know if Marco comes from management engineering L8 in Turin. But if that is the case, and that was my track, we lack a little bit of statistical, as I said, statistical signal processing and signals theory, but are all things that can be settled without any problem. So I recommend you also the ICT for Smart Societies course, even if you come from management engineering. It's really no big deal.
Okay, so there's a question from Anna about any electronic courses in ICT for Smart Societies. So there is no mandatory course that is specifically focused on electronics, but there are a couple of eligible courses that you may pick if that's what you like. One of them is programmable electronic systems, so that's probably the most focused course on electronics. Another couple of courses have labs which employ electronic systems, but they're not courses about design of electronic systems. Rather, what you do there is you design a methodology for doing something, and you implement that onto some electronic device, such as Raspberry or Arduino, something like that. So they can be integrated. Another question is about exchange opportunities and scholarships. So the offering here is in line with the other courses in the domain of ICT. So yes, we have Erasmus programs. We have one with the EPFL, we have one with the Technical University in Delft, and a couple of other ones off the top of my head. And we have a few double degree programs. The one that is by far the most popular is with Eurocom in France. And Nikhil did that too, so maybe he can give some information. We have a new one that has just been signed with the Politecnico University in Madrid, and another one with the University of Limoges in France. So maybe Nikhil, you want to say something about the Eurocom program?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you will go to Eurocom, it will be 18 months, of which 12 will be of courses and 6 months of internship that you can follow wherever you like in Europe. Basically, the Eurocom really pushes you and tries to push you and go to find new experience. For example, I did my internship and my thesis that was later validated by Politecnico di Torino in Paris. And so yeah, it's 18 months. It's a great place to be. I really recommend you. And I don't know if you have any more. I could talk for an hour and a half, so maybe it's not the case. But if you have any more details that you're interested, please contact me.
So maybe just because we have another 2 or 3 minutes, if there's no other question, maybe Dana, who hasn't had a chance to talk so far, you'd like to say something about your motivation as a ICT student?
So there are some
I'd just like to say
connection problems at the moment.
yes. Can you hear me?
Because I cannot hear them. Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I've been having problems. I didn't know if it was me.
I can see Enrico. I cannot hear Dana. I can see quite well Nikki. So maybe there are some problems at the moment.
Yeah, maybe there's some networking problems. So then I will try to answer the last question about labs, whether they're going to be in person for the next academic year. So this is something that is general to the Politecnico, not really specific to this particular degree program, that we most likely, the Politecnico will not allow in-presence laboratories for all students at the same time. There will be a chance to have, let's say, a fraction of the students being present in the lab for some of the computer lab, for some of the labs. However, the Politecnico has required that all the labs and the courses are made available in some way or another online to the students. So the international students who might not be able to come, at least in the beginning of the next academic year, they will indeed 100% have the chance to follow the lectures, to follow the labs, to work on the projects and so on. So they won't have a disadvantage in the list. That you can be sure about. That was one of the main things that this university is aiming at, to make that all the teaching experience is fully available to foreign students or even just Italian students who are not located in Torino remotely. So that's 100% sure. Particularly for ICT for Smart.
Yeah, actually, we can move to the other room. I can put here the link.
I think that'd be great.
Let's say that give us 5 minutes to close this session and open the other question and answer session.
Yes, because this one will be closed soon. So we'd better move. Marco has just posted the link to the new room. So if you follow that one, we're going to have another 1.5 hours available for questions and answers. So I will now close this meeting. And those of you who are interested, please join the question and answer chat following the link here.